Hello, fellow Americans. I'm coming to you from room 111 at Clintondale Middle School. My name is Mr. Steffler, and I'm going to talk about the difference between Athens and Sparta, two Greek city-states that are actually very close geographically, but extremely different in their development, their economy, their education, and their overall way of life. So we're going to dive in talking about Athens and Sparta. The first page of the chapter, you're going to see two pictures. The top picture is a picture of Sparta. Sparta is located in the mountains and is very isolated. The fact that they're surrounded by mountains made them suspicious of others, and they didn't want outside influence. They were very much wanted to control the Sparta area, but they did not want ideas coming from the outside. So Sparta is a very enclosed, isolated place, and it's isolated because of the mountains that surround it. On the bottom part of the first page of the picture, you're going to see a harbor, and you're going to see that's Athens, and Athens is by the sea, and Athens trades for a lot of its goods, and Athens is very accepting of other ideas and other places in the world. So Athens and Sparta are very different based on their geography. So because they're so different, they had different types of government. The government in Athens was a democracy, and the democracy had an assembly and it had a council. And the assembly could approve new laws after only the council suggested the law. So the council would suggest the law, then the assembly would vote on it, yes or no. And the way that you got on the council in Athens was you got chosen randomly, like any citizen could be on the council. So this is just different. It wasn't like a popularity contest. They just picked randomly who was going to be on the council, and the council was the one that suggested the laws. And then the assembly would vote on it. In Sparta, it was very different. In Sparta, they had an oligarchy, and in Sparta, if the assembly passed a law, the oligarchy could deny it, and then the law wouldn't pass at all. So the oligarchy was very, very powerful in Sparta, and could kind of ran the show. Another thing that I want to say about Sparta is having to do with its economy. Sparta used iron bars for its money, and iron bars aren't valuable anywhere outside of Sparta. And I think that is why the Spartans used those iron bars, is because they didn't want their people trading with people outside. Because when you trade goods, you also trade ideas, you trade diseases. And all these things are new, and they did not like new things in Sparta. They did not. They wanted to cling to the old style of life. Okay. It's one of our questions is Sparta got its land by conquering its neighbors? What happened after Sparta conquered the neighboring lands? Well, Sparta maintained itself through warfare. They trained their citizens to be warriors, and while their citizens trained as warriors, their slaves produced and cooked and cleaned and farmed the fields. And so through their military power, they enslaved people, and they used the products from the slaves to make themselves, stronger militarily. So it was all focused around the military aspect of Sparta, like how good of a warrior can I be if somebody else does all the farming, somebody else does all the cooking, somebody else runs my shop, and all I have to do is focus on being a warrior. They were very militaristic in Sparta. One of the cool things about Sparta is even the girls were trained militarily. The girls were trained to fight just like the boys were. So I think that aspect, they just were very militant in Sparta, which, made them very famous. Couple aspects about Sparta. I already mentioned that they conquered lands and took slaves. One of the positive things about Sparta is they did give their women more rights. While the fathers were away fighting wars, the women were at home running the shops, and because they were running the shops and because they were working, they had more rights, and they could own their own property. I don't think they could vote, but they did have more rights than other Greek women. So we have two totally different places, Athens and Sparta. It kind of reminds me of the North and the South in the American Civil War, how Sparta had the slaves, even though Athens had slaves too. But some of the things that Sparta did kind of reminded me of the Old South. And that's just kind of my opinion as I learned about this subject, Athens and Sparta. So I just want you to remember, the Spartans were very isolated. They were very closed off to ideas that were not their own. And the Athenians from Athens were more traders. They were more apt to use the sea and to trade ideas and to trade products. And so that is the difference between these two. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you watch it and study this chapter, which is chapter 27. Be ready for the quiz tomorrow. And God bless you, and God bless America.